Hello, and welcome to episode 2 of Chris Checks Out, where I check out of meetings, I check out of emails, I check out of multitasking and building stuff, and look at something that's cool happening in the ServiceNow ecosystem. So today I have with me Matthew Starcher, who is from the Intellective company, intellective.co, and here we're going to examine the Amaze application. So, just as we like to do on this series, we have a Z-booted instance, and Matthew is going to install it from scratch. So, go ahead and share your screen, Matt, and show that. Here you are. Oh, sorry, I think you canceled it.
Uh-oh.
That's okay. Go ahead and share again.
There we go.
There we go. And there we are.
Awesome.
So, this is a store application, right? You have to.
Yeah, this is a store application.
Okay.
This is the latest release that actually just came out last Monday. This is version 4.5.0.
Okay. And when you say last Monday, do you mean July 14th, 2025?
You're expecting me to know a date, and I'm concerned about that. But outside of that,
was it this week or last week?
It was this week. This week, Monday.
Oh, this week. All right, then this week would be July 21st, 2025.
Perfect. Yes, that's
so. Go ahead and tell us a bit about yourself while the install takes place.
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Matthew. I am the tech lead of the product team at Intellective. Been here about 4 years. I've been doing that role for the last 3. My background before that was kind of outside of ServiceNow, more sort of mainstream development, and then got into the ServiceNow ecosystem. Yeah, kind of what I really enjoy about the role is getting to kind of interface with clients, understand business requirements, turn them into features, and then work with the team to make that come to life. So yeah, so this is a very exciting time when we get to do fresh release. We have these features we've been tooling with that we finally get to get out there into clients' hands and then start gathering some feedback in the next couple of weeks. So yeah, exciting stuff.
That is exciting. So go ahead and tell us a bit about the company, Intellective.
Yeah, Intellective started out, again, kind of before my time, but started out being more services focused, and actually in the early days worked building ServiceNow's employee experience tooling. And over the years, sort of transitioned from services, not transitioned out completely, but started focusing more on, great, we have client after client needing the same thing. How can we make this into a product that we can solve that problem once instead of resolving it, over and over again? So over the course of Intellective's history, I believe there have been 5 products. And then some of those now are kind of moving out. Honestly, some of them are being deprecated because of AI. And so the new focus right now is really honing on 2 products. So one is Amaze, which has been around for, I would say, 5-6 years now. So it's a pretty mature product. We have this in a lot of company instances. A lot of Fortune 500 companies use this product. And then we are, I guess I can tease this, but the next product coming is Engage, which maybe we can talk about another time. But that's going to be a more holistic intranet solution that we're offering.
Okay. Yeah. And like you said, we're here to check out the product Amaze by Intellective, and their website again is intellective.co. So give us a little bit of an overview of what we're going to talk about while we explore the Amaze product by Intellective.
Yeah. Amaze is really focused on improving the knowledge creation experience. So for anyone who works in knowledge management on the ServiceNow platform, you're probably familiar with the tooling that exists there. Our feeling was very specifically the content creation part. We saw a gap there. And so what we've created is a drag and drop content builder that you can use to create content that looks a lot more modern, a little more magazine-like, is a lot more appealing for users and engaging. And you can do that really quickly and simply without having to have a lot of background in web development or anything like that.
Right. Oh, that's very cool. How's that installation looking?
It's looking successful.
Okay, so let me turn your screen share back on. Okay, and just want to say shout out to Callie Alexander. Thanks for joining us today. You owe me a post.
You're in trouble,
But she mentioned that there was a period where you were a rock star, at least a rock star adjacent. So let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, Kali definitely put me on the spot a little bit. Yeah. So that was my kind of first career out of college. I worked as an audio engineer initially. So I would tour with bands and got to do a lot of traveling, which was awesome. I'd say it's a solid solid role for your 20s, getting out there on the road.
Hmm.
I know I still look like I'm in my 20s. We don't need to talk about it, but have slowed down a bit over the years. Yeah.
Nice, that's fair. Yeah. And we don't have the sirens or anything to scare anybody, not because I don't think it's funny. It is hilarious. We don't have that because I don't know how to do
Yeah, yeah.
it. So anyway, let's do
Um,
just a brief overview then of the top 5 features that we're going to cover. There are many features, more than 5, that are tied to this Amaze product. But the ones that we'll discuss today in this episode, and probably we'll have to have a future episode as well to go through some more, but how we are going to be able to create reusable templates. There are some interactive components that we're going to be able to cover and showcase. There's an image manager that's really cool. We'll demonstrate how you can quickly build a KB article, a knowledge base article from scratch with just typing. And then how does AI chat and agentic AI fit into this whole thing? So I believe the first thing you have to do is configure an AI API key. Is that done?
yes, yeah.
Okay.
So the AI tools are completely optional. Yeah, AI, right? Moving really fast, and different folks have different implementation, different rules, or I think less and less there are folks who aren't using AI at all. When we were first rolling these tools out, almost no one at an enterprise level actually was, from a security standpoint, allowed to use LLMs yet. Now it seems like they're
Mhm.
really picking up, but for that reason, we ship with everything just switched off essentially. Um, so to configure AI, so I'll go to my Amaze properties. So this is going to give me all of the app properties for Amaze, and you do need to be in Amaze scope to edit is what that message is telling me.
Mhm.
Now, how we approach connecting to your LLM is we ship some default configurations, but it's a script extension point, which is a fancy way of saying you can hook into whatever LLM you have. So what I'm going to do here is I'll go ahead and switch from AI processor. I'll pick our OpenAI configuration, and then I
Mhm.
just need to add an API key. We store the API keys in this ServiceNow table, which means that they're secure and y'all can't steal my API key. Not that any of your listeners would do something like that. Um, so great. Now that I've done that, I can save up. And if I open Amaze, and
Mhm.
now you see basically anywhere you're seeing the AI icon, if I hadn't done that configuration, none of those tools show up essentially.
Okay, understood. Okay, I know that there's several properties that you can use to configure the Amaze application within ServiceNow, but I wanted to go over 4 of the key ones that we had talked about before hosting the podcast. So would you mind pulling those up and let's talk about the first one. Which knowledge bases can this be used against? And how do we configure that?
Yeah, really straightforward. All knowledge bases are specify, and then you just select
Mhm.
which knowledge bases you want to use Amaze with.
Right.
That's pretty much the whole process on that one.
Well, and that's part of the purpose of the podcast is to showcase some of the simple stuff that you can do that you won't need to, be a super advanced developer and understanding a bunch of the underlying infrastructure, etc. Okay, so the next one is how would I restrict access to templates or components at the user level?
Yeah. So the way we look at this restriction is we leverage ServiceNow's sys user groups, which you already have set up. We do ship with a group that you can use. So this Amaze KB creators, you can either use that one, or if you have an existing group already, a lot of times knowledge managers will have a group. You can use
Mhm.
that. And essentially, what you do is you would say, yes, I want to use this group. You could set a different one, or by default, you would just be using our Amaze KB creators. Once this is engaged, members of the group can save and replace templates.
Mhm.
Non-members cannot. And then I don't know if we can go even a little bit further and get into the styling. I don't know if you're interested in looking at that right now. But
Yes, yeah. Let's
cool.
talk about that for a second.
So yes, we can get really granular with that governance, and even get into, and you'll see in the builder, if we're going to style elements, we can say for non-members, for essentially your authors who you kind of want to be more bumpers up with, you can say, let's not give them an overwhelming number of controls. Let's not give them enough rope to hang themselves, right? Let's really make this
Mhm.
easy for them to quickly make something. And so the example that I come to most often is just something like font family. Let's
Right.
make sure that they're not able to change out of the fonts that we've said are our brand fonts. And, that's a way to do that.
Exactly. That will make the marketing department very, very happy to have that locked down. So let's look then about now. Was that discussing how the CSS can be loaded into the canvas and applied retroactively, or is that another
That's a
piece?
different piece, actually.
Okay.
That is in this list. Um, yeah, this one looks real subtle, but it's really cool under the hood. So again, this may be a little more technical use case, but what you can do is you can add a list of CSS URLs that you want to inject into every knowledge article, and this injection happens dynamically. So if you
Mhm.
retroactively need to say update a standard across all of your knowledge articles, you could update it in this one central style sheet, and that's going to again on load be dynamically injected into all the knowledge articles you created with Amaze. So if you have some brand color down the line that changed slightly, that's a way that you could update them all without having to go through every single article.
Yeah, that time savings alone would be incredible to have. Okay, let's look then at the image manager.
Yeah, absolutely. And maybe why don't I show this on the front end first, if I could?
Sure.
So this is how images work in Amaze. So if you want to add an image to your article, you can just drag and drop in, and then I'm just double clicking. And what you see here are we support the configuration of different image libraries. So what I have configured here by default are Unsplash and Pexels, which are two royalty-free resources
Mhm.
out there on the web. You can manage images with attachments. This is the default out of the box way. It's just a little
Mhm.
fancier looking interface. Or you could copy the URL of an image. Um, Back in the properties, we have the ability to set which of those configured sources we want to use, and we again from that scripted extension point interface, we could
Mhm.
also add additional image libraries if you have something else you want to use. So actually, even internally, this is something we have our own image library that we just connect up. So when we're creating content, we can just use it right there in the builder interface.
Oh, that's very cool. Now, like we said, there are many other properties available. This is a very well documented app, so you can go take a look at all of the documentation should you be interested to see the capabilities, the configuration options you'll have. But that brings us 12 minutes in, and we have installed, configured, and set everything up. We need to go to the next start piece, which is creating a knowledge article from scratch. So, why don't you go ahead and showcase that?
Yeah, absolutely. Let me just close out. We'll start fresh.
Yeah.
This is a random demo data that came with the Z boot,
Hmm.
and I've just cleared all the content out. Let me just make sure it's all clear. Great. This is another setting we don't need to get into, but you can either have it render an overlay or a button. This is something we did on a client request because different folks want to drive onboarding at different speeds. But I click this button and now I have Amaze open. And a super fast way to get going is we ship with around 60 templates. I can just go ahead and
Hmm.
load in a template and I can start editing content. And again,
And
it's a
that's
drag.
just a live edit right there, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Okay.
And it's a drag and drop interface, right? So if I want to start,
Hmm.
putting things places, I can do that. All of our templates and components are responsive. They ship responsive, so they're going to look right on mobile. And if
Hmm.
I go to preview here, this gives me a look at what my article is going to look like. If I save that out, now we'll see it updated, and I can view the article, and that's my knowledge article.
And that's your knowledge article. That's incredible, especially the responsiveness piece. So I know that there's a lot of knowledge content creators out there who hate making three different versions, one for mobile, one for a big desktop, and one for a developer desktop that might have a crazy screen resolution. So it's very cool that it's responsive like that, so that you're building a single article. Then when you need to update it, I only have to update one. So that's very, very cool.
100%.
And how do you save this as a template then?
So if I want to save as template, again, I'm a full level admin, right? So I just save as
Mhm.
template, and now I can name it. I can select a category or create a new one.
Mhm.
It's going to head and grab a thumbnail for me. This is my new category, and here's my template. And now I could reuse that.
I like that you didn't even have to refresh the page on that. That's very cool. Cool. Okay, so that's a knowledge article from scratch. We've saved it as a template afterwards as well so that we can reuse it multiple times. And we did that in less than 5 minutes, actually less than three, to be honest. Okay, so now I understand there's a few other huge features that we want to do a little bit of a deeper dive in. So let's clarify things up front though. What is the difference between AI chat and agentic AI in the Amaze world?
Absolutely. So AI chat is a feature that's existed in Amaze for more than a year.
Mhm.
And that's just a chat interface. It is not contextually aware of your Canvas content or anything that's going on there. Um, Agentic chat, this is where it will be contextually aware and have the ability to update your content. And I should caveat even further, one feature we added to the chat interface is you can make it contextually aware, but not let it update your content if you want. So if you just want to, discuss, hey, does the tone of this, give me the tone of this article or summarize this article, something like that. You have that ability. If you go into full agentic mode, now it will actually be able to change what's on my canvas.
Okay, that's great. So let's do the initial exploration of the AI chat piece.
Yeah,
I see
absolutely.
you're an
So
agent.
AI chat. So this include content toggle is what I'm talking about. So if I'm not including the content, I could say, when was ServiceNow founded? Right.
Okay, so you can use this then to quickly collect information to help drive what content you're putting. When did the Tokyo release come out of ServiceNow? That's pretty cool that you just typed in Tokyo and it
Yes,
knew.
it will maintain the context of my conversation, right? So I don't have to keep
Yeah,
telling it everything, every little bit and piece,
yeah.
right? So it does
Every
maintain my
explicit thing.
yeah.
Nice. Nice. I really like that. And September 2022, and people can fact check, but I believe that's the accurate.
Yeah, we should double check that
Yeah.
I have
No, it is.
not hallucinating.
We have, yeah, I know that one fairly well. Okay, so that's the AI chat piece. I can see that adding a ton of value in that I can, from one interface, I don't have to Google copy paste. When I'm doing copying and pasting out of stuff, I always have to paste it into Notepad to strip out all the formatting, and then I put it into the target thing, and then I reformat it. Here, I won't have to do that because I can do it all from a single source, which is nice.
Quick.
Okay, so let's move into creating a knowledge article using agentic AI.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's go ahead and just clear our canvas. We'll start fresh. Make sure this is saved up. I'll even give it a refresh so we don't have any of that old conversation.
Sure.
Great. So I'm starting totally fresh here.
Mhm.
I'll go into agentic mode and let's see. So I'll go ahead and ask it to create an announcement for Chris, the ServiceNow magician, for your yacht party.
Ooh, that's right. It's coming up in a couple weeks. 3.
That's exciting.
That was
Excellent.
very fast. It was very fast. I really liked it. Okay, so now let's see. So it came up with that. Ahoy, ServiceNow enthusiasts. Oh, yeah, that's very cool. That's all accurate. How would the date though? That's not the right date. So can you change the date to August 9th?
Sure. So I could click in and do that manually, or
Mm-hmm.
in this day of us being maybe a little lazier and more AI dependent. Change the date.
We'll call that efficient.
Efficient. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, zero code.
I don't know if you have this in I don't know if you have this in your coding life, Chris, but every now and again I'm talking to AI and I'm like, I could just type that actually.
Right.
I don't know why I'm asking you. But yeah, August 9th.
When I put my developer hat on, sometimes it's like I'd rather spend 6 hours figuring it out than looking at 15 minutes of documentation.
Yeah.
I'm trying to not be that,
Yeah.
but sometimes old bad habits come up, just like Ed Sheeran.
um,
Okay, so August 9th.
yeah, yeah. So again, kind of
Yeah.
the two pieces, right? It can update layout, colors, things like that.
Mhm.
But it also, again, because it is contextually aware of your content, you can do things like that, or say change the tone of this article, or even translate this article.
Right.
Any of the tools that
Okay.
AI can do.
So could you then change the where to Vancouver, BC?
See, now I've
Okay.
changed the format.
Yeah, and that's okay. So the purpose of showcasing this though is that it is truly conversationally based. And that's one of the things that I really like about it. You're basically chatting and having the AI build all the content, group it, format it, all of that kind of stuff for you. Oh,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
you can
absolutely.
critique it if you want to take a risk. right?
100%. Yeah. Well, and you say risk,
Yeah,
but again, so we have this
yeah,
undo button here, and you also have undo and redo up here.
yeah.
So
Oh, nice.
it's a pretty
I
small
would. The
work.
risk I was talking about is you want to always try and be polite to AI. So that joke, where in the future you may spare our lives. That's all.
I
No, you definitely don't worry about telling it made a mistake here and that it needs to fix something because that's how it learns, just
yeah.
like the rest, kind
I
of like
think
the
I
rest of
think
us.
Sam Altman had a good quote on that. He said, I mean, play it safe. I think.
Yeah. Well, I didn't see you do please or thank you in there.
Uh,
Okay. So that's how we built the yacht party invite. We did an update on it. We showed that. The next thing we want to do is there's that contextual AI feature for translation
oh, sure. So we
that
have
you talked about. That
also.
was super interesting.
Um, so yeah. So let's say I just want to interact with this piece of text right here.
Yeah. Hmm.
So yeah. So like you said, we call this a contextual tool. So you see, I have some
Hmm.
options like spelling and grammar, tone. We like to do translate.
Hmm.
I'm going to go with Swahili. I grew up in Kenya.
Hmm.
Um, Fantastic. So now what you could do, you see your original content, you see the update, you could edit this, make changes. If you're happy with it, you just accept it and it's going to dump it right back there in your canvas.
Oh, that's super, super cool and super fast. So I work with a client that does has language rules that they have to do everything in English and Canadian French.
Hmm.
So that would drastically save them a ton of time in that translation piece of effort that they're doing. So, last piece that we'd want to cover now, there's a many, many, many features to go through on this. So, I don't want people to think this is where it ends. This is just the tip of the iceberg. Definitely go to intellective.co, check it out, and see everything that it can be done. But let's add an image to this one.
Sure.
Show
Yeah.
me how
So
quickly that could be.
we were looking at that image manager earlier, so I could
Mhm.
grab an image and um, we should probably do a boat, right?
Sure.
That looks serene. Oh, you
It
know what?
does.
Actually, I
I
really
like
liked
the
that other.
colors.
Right as I clicked, I saw. Yeah, I think that might be
Yeah,
okay.
that's a cool one. Yeah, with the fuzzy background. I like that. Okay, so that's just how quickly and easily you can create it. Now, how does this hook into normal knowledge management processes? So I've made my article, I've talked to my chatbot, I've corrected it politely, and now I want to publish it. How does that
Absolutely.
work? You don't have to publish this one, but just describe that process.
Sure. So, great question, common question. So, we really draw a hard line as far as kind of where we hand off from ServiceNow and back to ServiceNow. I should mention also,
Mhm.
we never left the instance. Your data does not leave the ServiceNow instance. This app is running natively on your instance. Once you save the content, like we showed before, it throws it right back into your draft. From
Mhm.
there, whatever publishing approval governance processes you have set up internally work exactly the same way they always did. We're concerned with how you update the content essentially of this field. But
Mhm.
beyond that, we don't change your workflow in any way.
And that's going to definitely accelerate the timeline to getting this into production, especially when you factor in that, yeah, there'd be nothing else that you have to refactor after the installation. So, all those existing workflows, all those existing approval processes, all the retirement processes, everything that you have going on in your existing knowledge management tool will apply after this. So, like you said, it's just the content piece, but that for me is always the stopper, the blocker, right? I never know where to start. So that's when I would use AI chat to help get me a starting point. Then I would move over to the agentic AI to help me build it. And within 10 minutes, we have something built and ready for review to be published in the knowledge base. So that's an amazing piece of technology you have right there. A huge time saver. I can totally see why so many companies are already on board. And if you are not on board and doing knowledge management without this app, you really should reach out, talk to Intellective, and get on this AI ship because it is going to save everybody a ton of time, money, and effort, stress, reduce them, all that stuff. But I understand you've got like this AI enhance piece. So can you talk about that a bit?
Yeah, we call that tool, or I call the tool AI batch migration. So
Hmm.
again, another common question we get is, great, I get your tool. I have 10,000 articles. What do I do now? Where do I start? How do I do this? So
Hmm.
what that tool does is it allows you to select. I think we have it capped at up to 100 articles at a time. and then select a template that you want to use for those articles, and then it will use AI to take your content and reformat it to fit the shape of that article. And then again,
Right.
that has its own review process before you put it back into actual production. So it doesn't, you still do need the human review. We trust the robots mostly.
Yeah. Well, and you still want to have that approval process for sure, just in case that's part of your governance around knowledge management. So that's very cool, especially for those people that come in and have, like you said, 10,000 existing KBs, and I want articles and I want to update them all and move forward. I can do that within a day. You'll spend probably more time approving those 10,000 edits than you would actually executing them. And that may be a case for auto approvals in that one scenario. And that discusses the AI enhanced piece, and then also your batch updates, right? So
Mm-hmm.
sometimes those can take a while. That's why we're not doing it in the demo. We didn't want to have people watching a progress bar for 3 or 4 minutes.
Yeah, for the batch that actually runs as a background process, because again, depending how many articles you selected, and then there's just a
Mhm.
notification system. So when you run a batch, you can say
Mhm.
pick users or user groups to update, with as state changes essentially. So when it's
Nice.
complete, let me know. So yeah, you
Okay.
can kind of set it and forget it, go do other work, and come back when it's done.
Oh, that's great. Okay, one more piece to showcase. If you wouldn't mind, I understand that agentic AI can be used to accept an image and then create content. Can you showcase
Yeah,
that?
absolutely. This is where it gets fun, in my opinion. AI tools to me often are, they either feel really dumb, or every now and again I'm just gobsmacked, and this is kind of one of those. So, um, and we're not restricted to image files, right? So some things I can
Mhm.
do. Um, yeah, I think we did. Yeah, this is a screenshot of Google's homepage. So I'll go
Okay.
ahead and just like generate the content from the image. Um, So it could do something like this. I could take a screenshot of a Figma, a design, another article
Mhm.
I like, a SharePoint, anything like that. And then it'll be able to generate that content for me. I could also say upload a PDF and say, hey, take the content out of this PDF, kind of like it's an AI version of OCR, right?
Yeah.
But I can kind of combine those in tandem any way that I want to. And
Mhm.
yeah, that's
Yeah,
exciting.
you could have it. You could feed it a document, a spreadsheet, many other document types. Again, check out the product documentation for the full list. But
Yep.
you can see it's generating the content from the image right now, and here we are. So that put it into the knowledge article, and then you're done from this piece. You see, what I like too is how it made the individual icon. So let's say I'm like, oh, I don't want to have the home box in there. That's not going to add any value. You could easily drop it
Sure. Yeah.
just like that, right?
Yeah, and it's
So
impressive. Yeah, it did
go
pull
ahead.
some images, right? But for the images it
Yeah.
missed, that's where I now just punt over to Image Manager and update those. Or if I had icons I wanted for my own article, again, Google homepage is maybe a silly or fun use case.
No, it
But yeah, you can
is.
kind of see
No,
how
it's a
that.
good one. Yeah, the purpose is that it gets you there almost all the way, almost all the time. And if it doesn't, then it's very quick, very easy, drag and drop, selecting stuff, etc., to finish it off and publish that article because we've all sat there looking at the blank screen or looking at the 99% done. Like we just had a quote before we started where what was it again? Go ahead.
Uh, in terms of software development, 99%
Yeah.
complete is closer to not started than it is to finished. Which
Which, yes, that's true. Yeah. So all the PMs out there. Take note. And
sure,
that's not to be mean. That's just because sometimes you don't know what you don't know. So how can I predict the future for it?
yeah, 100%.
So this has been a fantastic demo. Thank you so much, Matt, for joining us. Thank you to Intellective for creating such an incredible app. I know that this one's called Amaze, and that you have the other one, which is
Engage is kind of
Engaged. You're right. I'm sorry.
yeah,
Engaged. Yeah. On that one. We've also got a couple other last minute questions before we wrap up.
sure.
So, how can these AI tools be used with a customer's individual LLM?
Yeah, absolutely. So I might have done a too technical throwaway with the script includes, but essentially what we provide is a way to hook into whatever LLM you're using. So
Hmm.
I'm configured right now. I think this is running GPT 4.0, but I could configure it to use any of the GPT models, but also an Azure or a Gemini or any of the other LLMs out there.
Oh, that's awesome. And we also did discuss that the tool does not go outside of ServiceNow, so it all stays within unless you do that type of configuration. And that it works with your existing knowledge management processes. So there's so many great things about this app. I know that we only had 30 minutes for it, so we'll have to have you back for a future episode if you want to. I mean, you're always welcome.
Been a pleasure.
And maybe we could talk about the Engage app as well in a future one, because I'm very curious to see what other stuff you guys have cooking up.
I'm very excited about it. So yeah, absolutely. I'd love to.
So once again, my name is Chris Shue. This is the podcast Chris Checks Out, and I'm with Matthew Starcher from Intellective, and we just checked out Amaze, and I found it amazing.